Mark chapter 15. And straightway in the morning the archpriest preparing an altogether council with the preceders and the scribes and the whole Sanhedrin, and binding Jesus, they carried him away and gave him up to Pilate. And Pilate asked on him, Are you, yea, you, the regent of the Jews? But answering him, he says, You say it. And the archpriest accused him with much wording. But Pilate asked on him again, Do you not understand, yea, not one thing? Perceive regarding how many things they accuse you. But Jesus, not one more thing did he answer, so that Pilate marveled. But according to the feast, he unloosened to them one bound one, whom they requested. But there was the one called Barabbas, one having been bound with the uprising ones, which had done a murder in the uprising. And having stepped up to Pilate, the throng began to request to grant them according so as he also did for them at other times. But Pilate answered them, saying, You want that I unloosen to you the regent of the Jews? For he had known that because of envy the archpriests had given him up. But the archpriest stirred up the throng so that he may unloosen to them much more Barabbas. But Pilate answering again said to them, Hence, what should I do to him whom you call the regent of the Jews? But they cried again, Stake him. But Pilate said, For what badness has he done? But they cried abundantly, saying, Stake him. But Pilate, determining to do the adequate thing for the throng, unloosened Barabbas to them, and gave Jesus up, letting him be whipped, so that he may be staked. But the warfarers led him away into the inner courts, which is the praetorium, and called together the whole troop. And they slip in over him twofold with purple, and braiding a thorny crown, they set it about him, and Origen began to greet him, and to say, Be joyful, regent of the Jews. And they struck his head with a reed, and spit in on him, and setting their knees, they prayingly crawled to him. And when they had scoffed at him, they out-slipped him the purple, and slipped in over him his own raiments. And they led him out, so that they may stake him. And they forced one Simon a Cyrenian, passing by, coming from the field, the father of Alexander and Rufus, so that he may lift on himself his stake. And they bring him to the place of Golgotha, which being post-translated is Skull's place. And they gave him wine having been mingled with myrrh, but he did not take it. And those staking him thoroughly parted his raiments, casting a lot in regards unto them, which each may lift away. But it was the third hour, and they staked him. And written thereon was his guilt cause, having been written thereon, the regent of the Jews. And together with him they staked two bandits, one out of those at the right hand, and one out of those at the left named. And those going by blasphemed him, moving their heads, and saying, Ha! You the one down loosening the temple, and dwell building it in 3 days. Save yourself, as one having descended from the stake. Likewise also the archpriests, together with the scribes, scoffing at him, said to one another, Others he saved, himself he is not able to save. The Christ, the regent of Israel, let him descend now from the stake, so that we may perceive and faith. Also those having been staked together with him reviled him. And the 6th hour having become, there became a darkness upon the whole earthland till the 9th hour. And in the 9th hour Jesus shouted with a great voice, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani, which is being post-translated is, my God, into what have you internally left down me? And some of those having taken stand by him, and hearing this said, Perceive, he lets resound a call to Elijah. But someone running and lading a sponge with vinegar, setting it about a reed, gave him to drink. Whereby one said, Let be. We should perceive whether Elijah comes to down eliminate him. But Jesus, having let dismiss the great voice, spirited out. And the curtain of the temple was torn into 2 parts, from above to down. But the centurion, having taken stand by him, outstanding in opposition to him, perceiving that he thus spirited out, he said, Truly this human was the Son of God. But there were also women beholding from afar, in among whom was also Mary the Magdalene, and Mary the mother of James of the small one, and Gioses and Salmon, who when he was in Galilee followed him and served him, and there were many other women having ascended together with him into Jerusalem. And when evening had already become, and because it was the preparation of implements, which is the pre-Sabbath, Joseph having come, the one from Arimathea, a well-decorous councilman, he was also one being readily receptive to the regency of God. But Pilate marveled over it, whether he had already come to death. And calling to the centurion, he asked on him, whether he had deadened away long ago. And knowing it from the centurion, he gifted the fallen body to Joseph. And this one brought Sindon linen, and then having down eliminated him, he wrapped him in the Sindon linen, and laid him to rest in a place of sepulchre, which was one having been stone cut out of the rock. And he rolled a great stone on the door of the sepulchre site.